Greetings, I'm Lisa Frost, a member at University United Methodist Church in Baton Rouge, and coming to you for our regular time of midweek devotion. I've been longing for and challenged by Sabbath as a practice in my life. This past Sunday, Reverend Katie McKay Simpson preached on this, and I thought I might continue that discussion because I want to practice this time, this set-apart time of rest, more fully in the busyness of the everyday. The first story in our Bible sets the stage for this day of rest. The Message tells it this way, as the ending to a very busy week of creation. Heaven and earth were finished, down to the last detail. By the seventh day, God had finished his work. On the seventh day, he rested from all his work. God blessed the seventh day. He made it a holy day because on that day, God rested from work. All the creating God had done. This is the story of how it all started, of heaven and earth when they were created. When I've talked to people about Sabbath, many people want to talk about which day it is. Is it Friday or Saturday or Sunday? What does rest mean? What does work mean? These are interesting and worthy questions, but for me right now, I'm really wondering about why I avoid being totally committed to a day of Sabbath rest. In the children's moment last Sunday at the 11 o'clock service, Michelle Hoke asked the children gathered in the front of the sanctuary, do you like to rest? And there was a resounding no. And when she followed that up with why don't you like to rest? Some said, I'm too old for a nap. And many said, I might miss something. I thought that was very interesting. The kids didn't report that they had too much work to do or they were trying to get ahead to make up time. I think those answers might be some that we might hear in our older groups. What is it for you? Katie also talked about the addictions that might keep us from practicing Sabbath, even those that are deemed good for our society. Isn't hard work valued? Being helpful, being liked? Those are all good things. But all of those lead to not valuing rest. I read an interesting article by Joshua Becker in the past month titled 9 Ways to Improve Your Life Through Subtraction and the Science Behind It. I was immediately attracted to this article. First of all, it has a list, which I love, 9 ways. It's also about self-awareness and our behavior and what's behind it. Becker is known for his writings on minimalism, on the practice of being a minimalist. And he starts with this quote from an anonymous source. When things aren't adding up in your life, start subtracting. Intriguing. I think maybe like many of you that to solve a problem or to go in a different direction in my doing, I often add something, a class, a book, an exercise program. Let me read just a bit of this article for you to get the idea. He cites an article published in Nature magazine titled, People Systematically Overlook Subtractive Changes. That title isn't quite as snappy as his, but he summarizes the study by writing in his article. When given a problem to solve, we are more likely to find a solution that adds components rather than subtracting. In one example, he goes on to say, participants are given a Lego housing structure, who doesn't love Legos, with an out-of-balance roof and asked to stabilize the roof. The simplest solution is to remove one brick from a corner, but most respondents chose to add bricks to the remaining corner to stabilize the roof. It was a more difficult solution, yet most respondents chose it because we are predisposed to look for additive solutions instead of subtractive ones. He continues, in fact, across 8 different experiments, each time a majority of respondents, 90%, chose solutions that required additive transformations, even though subtractive transformations would have been simpler and more efficient. This look at human nature is asking me to consider, instead of adding, can I consider what needs to be subtracted? And isn't this part of what we're doing by practicing Sabbath rest, is doing some subtracting? One of the things I've done in the past couple of months is limit my errands I run on the weekends. Now I try to accomplish those during the week. And I'm lucky to have some flexible time, and I often can do that. Those busy tasks that can be done at other times or not at all leave some spaciousness now for me on Saturday and Sunday. This past Sunday, I had to even remind myself out loud that load of laundry I was considering putting in could be done on Monday. It could wait. Doing laundry is not a bad thing. I love to do laundry, but it might keep me from a walk with my dog or a swim with my grandchildren or some other way of resting and subtracting in my life. And I do love to get things done. There's nothing I like better than checking something off of my to-do list. To do nothing or produce nothing is challenging for me. There's a small voice in my head that says, you really can't rest until everything you need to do is done. I don't think I'm alone. Several years ago, I attended a conference where James Bryan Smith was the speaker. Many of us have participated in his books, the book Good and Beautiful God and Good and Beautiful Life and Community. He said something that day that both shocked me and was so obvious. We all have the same pie of time. My pie does not get bigger. It does not expand because what I'm doing is good or worthy. My thinking had been distorted that if those were the things I was doing, that somehow magically my time would expand. But he reminded me, Jim Smith, in this conference, that by saying yes to something, we are automatically saying no to other things. Often one of those things is rest. Another article that I've saved this month is one by Steve Lawson, the founder of the Monk Manual. Okay, you know I'm going to love that. It's a planner, it's a calendar, but it has things besides the calendar of some things to record, where I'm seeing growth in my life, what God is teaching me, what were meaningful moments from the day. I long to use it, but I haven't had time. Lawson's post this month, he writes a blog, was the impossibility of saving time, writing that we often see time like accountants rather than investors. I think this is a subtle difference, and I'm still pondering it. Here's a snippet from his article. He writes, you can't save time really. Time marches on at a steady drip regardless of what we do or don't do. We can't control it. We can't increase or decrease it. We can just sit in what feels like the moment to be in perpetual flow. I think we get treating time like an accountant. That seems easy for me. It's a finite amount of time in the day, and we balance our to-dos with the time we exchange time for tasks. But Lawson asked this question about seeing time as an investor. What can I invest in that will give me the greatest return on my investment? And comments, as time investors, we ask, where can I put my awareness, attention, and energy to make this moment, which is a finite resource, the most meaningful and impactful? This is a subtle shift, but I think there's something in there for us, for me. There's still many things to be done. Can shifting my intention actually improve my productivity and peace of mind? I think stopping during our week for Sabbath rest is part of this shift. I invite you, as Katie did on Sunday, to start where you can, an hour of rest or quiet during the week, or a time of holy piddling, as my friend Cindy Mann calls it, if that's life-giving to you. Jesus moves again and again in the Gospels, from community to contemplation, from action to prayer. Jesus is quoted as saying, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. The rhythm of life is ancient and holy. Let's support one another in this idea of Sabbath time. It's valuable and possible. I look forward to hearing how you were resting. And in my box just this morning, I was reminded of this amazing poem by Howard Thurman. So hear this as we part today. Howard Thurman's writing. How good it is to center down, to sit quietly and see oneself pass by, The streets of our minds seethe with endless traffic, while something deep within hungers and thirsts for the still moment and the resting lull. With full intensity we seek ere the quiet passes, a fresh sense of order in our living. A direction, a strong, sure purpose that will structure our confusion and bring meaning to our chaos. We look at ourselves in this waiting moment, the kinds of people we are, the questions persist. What are we doing with our lives? What are the motives that order our days? What is the end of our doings? What are we trying? Where are we trying to go? Where do we put the emphasis and where are our values focused? For what end do we make sacrifices? Where is my treasure? And what do I love most in life? What do I hate most in life? And to what am I true? Over and over, the questions beat upon the waiting moment as we listen, floating up through all the jangling echoes of our turbulence. There is a sound of another kind, a deeper note, which only the stillness of my heart makes clear. It moves directly to the core of our being. Our questions are answered, our spirits refreshed, and we move back into the traffic of our daily round. With the peace of the eternal in our step, how good it is to center down. I hope you find time this week to center down. Grace and peace to you this day.